Welcome back to American Warrior Radio. I'm Glenn McGuffey, one of your co-hosts, along here with Garen Cohn.
Hey, everybody.
Yeah, and we're here on AM 1300 WMEL, the Talk to Me station. And
every Saturday from 11 to noon and online worldwide at 1300WMEL.com.
That's right, and the owner just reminded me while we were off air that it's been more than 23 years that we've been WMEL AM 1300, and he provides this time for us free of charge, and we're so grateful for that.
Yes, we are.
And it gives us an opportunity to share important information for veterans and their families and friends, as the case may be.
Exactly, and so hats off to John and Vern Harper, Vietnam vets themselves. AVET Project puts this program on for y'all. Glenn and I have been doing this for, I think we're in our 4th or 5th year now, and it's all about giving you information that you can use. We're in our 4th year, the producer says. And speaking of information that they can use, Glenn, how about this? We told you want to listen and maybe have a pen and paper. If you don't know where our broadcast house is located, it's easy to find. You go to 1300WMEL.com. Click on Contact Us, and a map will come up. It's very convenient. You know why I tell you all that? Because right here at AM 1300 WMEL, the station, the broadcast house itself, we have free tickets to an upcoming Manatees baseball game. If you are an active duty military member or a family member, or you are a veteran or a family member of a veteran, then guess what? We've got tickets for you for the May 24th and May 25th Manatees game, where they're going to be playing against the Tampa Yankees.
And that's going to be great fun. Going out to the ballpark here is really great fun out there in Vieira, because it doesn't cost but about a third or even less of what it costs to go when they're having spring training out here.
Exactly, and these tickets are free to you. First come, first serve. We got a bunch of them, but listen, you're going to want to snatch them up, and you want to save the date, because none of this would be possible without the support and sponsorship of Northrop Grumman through AVET Project. So AVET Project's bringing this great opportunity for you and your family if you're active duty or a veteran. Thanks to Northrop Grumman, you got free tickets to go see the game, and they happen to be occurring, that's the Memorial Day weekend. It's also the end of Armed Forces Week, which is the week prior, so lots going on there. And if you want to come by and get tickets, they will be here at WMEL Studios on Plucky Bomb Road. Just click on, I want you to go to the website for a number of reasons. Number one, to find out where these tickets are located so you can come by and get them. Number two, I want you to click on the Archives tab, because Glenn and I archive all these episodes. They're not just up on YouTube, where you can actually see Glenn and I don't know why you'd want to do that, but maybe some of our guests. You can see the episode being filmed. You can click on the archive and listen to it, and you can easily share any of the past American Warrior Radio episodes with anybody from here to Afghanistan.
Yeah, and let me add to that. We also will have those free tickets available for pickup at American Legion Post 200. Write this down, 105 Ocean Boulevard, or just go into like Google and type in American Legion Post 200. It'll give you the address, and it also has a map there. And while I'm at it, we want you to know that when we're using the term veteran there, that
what does that mean? What's it mean?
Well, okay, a veteran is anyone who served honorably in our forces and wasn't court-martialed and kicked out.
Didn't get that big chicken dinner?
That's right.
What's that stand for? BCD?
Yeah, bad conduct discharge or an undesirable discharge will probably wipe you out for all benefits.
Yeah, you're not going to get tickets, folks, if you show up like that. But if you served, and you served honorably, you are a veteran. And we encourage you to go by, what's the post number again?
American Legion Post 200. It's right off of A1A on Ocean Boulevard. If you're coming from the Pineda, you'll hit a 7-Eleven right past an apartment complex and take a right there, and you'll see it. It's right behind that the 7-Eleven store there. And we'll have free tickets there also, or here again at the studio.
That's the same dates, May 24th and May 25th. Pick one or the other.
Or both.
Yeah, we've got plenty of tickets. The idea is if you pick up the tickets from the studio here or to American Legion Post 200. Save the date on your calendar and please show up. I mean, Northrop Grumman and AVET Project are counting on you to show up. Cost of admission is free, just got to pick up the tickets. But while we're on the subject of American Legion Post 200, let's get a plug in for what's going on later tonight there.
Yeah, tonight the Sons of American Legion are putting on a dinner. It's usually $10, and
it's pretty delicious dinner, folks.
It's always great, and it's only $10, and it's from 5:30 to 7:30.
So why cook? Why have yourself or the woman cook for you? You can't go out and
eat anywhere else for that, and the dinners have all the fixings with it, including dessert, and so that's great. And then every Sunday at American Legion Post 200, they have a breakfast, which is anywhere from $4 to $5, and it's from 9 to noon. That's for you military folks out there, 0900 to 1200.
And it's delicious breakfast, and we want to give a hats off and a salute to Lionel the adjutant, and of course Gene the commander, and Mark the chief cook and bottle washer. They do a phenomenal job at American Legion Post 200. Right, Glenn?
Oh, absolutely. And you know, if you want to join the post, you can check with us while you're there, and you probably might be eligible. Especially, I know you'll be eligible if you're a veteran.
Exactly.
So
check it out.
Yeah. Having said all that, I recently attended a meeting with Congressman Posey.
This is his kind of biannual roundtable.
Yeah, it's a roundtable meeting where we get to hear from him, and it consists of some hand-picked people who represent the veterans in our community, including Indian River County. And we get to hear what's going on with veterans legislation from the congressman, and then we get the congressman's ear to fill him with information on legislation we'd like to see, how veterans things are going or not going in the county, what kind of help we might need from the federal government. And it was a great meeting. One lengthy topic of discussion was the dumbing down, if you will, of our military because of sequestration. You know, half of sequestration is coming out of the Department of Defense, but Department of Defense only takes up less than a third of the total federal budget, and something's got to be done positive about that.
What did the congressman have to say about that?
Well, he said to us what we already knew, and that's is making it less possible for our military to protect us and keep us free, and it's going downhill and downhill and downhill, and that's the first duty of Congress is to protect America.
And that's actually in the Constitution, people.
Absolutely.
All this other stuff, I'm sorry, you will search forever and not find food stamps in the Constitution.
Yeah,
you're not going to find
analogy.
it. It's not there. But when you come to support and protect the people and property of the United States of America, boom, it's there in the Constitution. So for Congress to be abdicating their responsibility in so many different ways, and this downsizing, they're calling it, they come up with these euphemisms. It's force restructuring. What does that mean, Glenn?
It means we're cutting money so you can't have as many people on active duty. You can't have as much equipment that you need, ships, planes, tanks, guns, the whole 9 yards. So
and it is. It's the sequestration word that they've used, but the bottom line is they're looking, and unless they're stopped, they're going to reduce the size of our active military to pre-World War II.
Yeah, and that's fact. Pre-World War II. Think about that. Pre-World War II.
Scares me.
Well, those of you that know some history about World War II might remember how long it took us to ramp up to get involved in World War II because we had such a small military at that time that we were incapable initially of helping out our allies in Europe.
But haven't you heard? The world's a much safer place now.
Yeah, well, I don't think we can solve everything by politics myself.
No, I think the peace...
History shows me right.
Yes, peace through strength. That was the Reagan doctrine. It works, okay?
Yeah, absolutely. And then
Hold, I gotta put you on pause for a second because
Okay, I'm on pause.
if you go into if you do any research, if you stay current with any of this business, and let's say you get online and you look for the Air Force Times, you're going to see it is replete with articles about how this quote-unquote force restructuring is going to have some really detrimental effects on the primary mission of the military, and that's to protect the country. They're all getting all cranked up about this BRAC. What does BRAC mean again?
Base restructuring and closure. That's when they go through this thing. Remember, they've done this in the past about 3 times, and they select a number of bases and close them. In fact, the last base I was at when I retired, Chanute in Illinois, was one of those. And they were just starting to close that when I retired.
And that was a massive training base.
Massive training base.
Okay, so here's the little twist on that. That was done through Congress, okay? However they get their marching orders, the DOD, Department of Defense, says, okay, all this is on the table. Let's try and start knocking some of these out. Well, the thing of it is, that was Congress recognizing they had to toe the line because the American people were upset we were spending too much money on defense and bases and blah, blah. That's why you got all these joint base, McCord, Lewis and all that.
Joint base in Tampa.
Right.
MacDill.
Yeah. Well, now, if you go and you check into this, you're going to find that the Air Force has a plan to sidestep Congress's opposition to closers. Okay, so Congress is saying, not in my state. If you're in New Mexico at Cannon Air Force Base, your congressman is telling the DOD, leave that alone. We got people employed here. I'm sure it's happening in MacDill. They probably felt threats out here at Patrick. But the Department of Defense is coming up with unique ways to try and sidestep Congress saying, no, you're not going to do that. So it's like we're fighting wars within wars here.
Yeah, and the only savior in this terrible process to me, because those bases and posts were put where they were put because of strategic needs of the military.
Thank you very much.
For training or for protection of our country. And then the types of aircraft and ships and so forth that are located where they're located, there's a strategic reason for that tied in with the primary mission to protect our country and keep us free. What I was going to say was the only saving grace to this, if they keep the same process in, is once DOD sends their list to Congress, Congress has to accept it in totality, or it's a no-go.
And
they can't pick and choose bases after the list is sent to them.
Exactly. So it puts them in a bind. At the same time, the Department of Defense is expanding their AFRICOM mission. Now, it used to be a backwater, the whole African continent, and our active military and reserves and guards that are stationed there and augmenting there. It used to be of low-level significance. Now, since 2008, it's grown to over 5,000 personnel, Glenn.
I know. I started hearing all these names like Djibouti and other places I'd never heard of. I said, we got people there?
Yeah, so the numbers are increasing, the mission is increasing, and it's supported directly from our 920th Rescue Wing. They're over there all the time.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
They cycle there and back and there and back, and the families are disrupted. They're reservists, for crying out loud.
Yeah, and you've seen the USAA commercial. One of them says, I got mine in Djibouti in 1992 or whatever. So they've been there a while.
Got kicked in the Djibouti.
Yeah.
But the reason I wanted to stop you at Congressman Posey's roundtable, you were talking about important and significant issues that will impact our defense structure. Did he have any particular opinions, or what was his take from all that?
Well, his take from all that, I think, is that the current administration is pretty much not a friend of the military. Hence, to me, not a friend of America.
Sorry to say, people, politics aside, you're either behind the troops. AVET Project sells red shirts.
Yeah,
that's right.
I love it.
Yeah, and it's a slogan, and it says, if you can't stand behind our troops, feel free to stand in front of them.
Yes, please feel free. One of our favorite words, free. It's
That's
free to
right.
do that.
That's right. So, and you can get your red shirt by going online to avetproject.org. Folks, we need your help. We'll get back to your report in a second, Glenn, but I got to get a call to action out there, folks. We've got to hold some of these PR&R retreats, and I know you all enjoy listening to American Warrior Radio because we hear from you from Idaho to Tennessee to right here on the Space Coast, but please take a moment and help us help our warriors, even if it's $1 or $5, or you buy a $10 Red Shirt Friday. What does red mean again?
Don't ask me because I keep forgetting it.
Remember everyone deployed.
That's right.
And you'll catch this really cool slogan on the front that's always going to catch people's attention. Plus, it gives you discounts at various places like Chachi's Food Truck, 1 block south of Sarno. Not Sarno. Anyway, Aurora and Croton. Aurora and Croton. Okay, so I digress.
Yeah.
What else?
Well, one last thing from the meeting, and that is last year they had a bill which passed the Congress pretty much unanimously, and that was to allow not-for-profits like AVET and others to support the troops with these packages of care packages, for lack of a better term, and use military aircraft on a space available basis to save the $15 and change.
What's that space available? What do you mean by that?
Okay, well, the plane's already going to Afghanistan, and,
Okay.
and it has space on the plane that's not being utilized to carry anything or carry people. Then that's space A, and it's free. Unfortunately, stuff can be sent for the citizens of those countries, but stuff can't be sent for our troops free. You got to pay 15 and change for each box that's a certain size to send that to support the troops. Congressman Posey's a grand supporter of changing that. The Denton?
Yeah, the Denton it's Title 10, Section 402, the Denton program. He put together the Deployed Troop Support Act of 2013. And like you mentioned, he got it through the House. It was an en bloc amendment to the NDAA, National Defense Authorization Act. And then what happened to it?
The Senate shot it down, so you can draw your own conclusion there.
Yep.
He's reintroduced that, and it's House Resolution 32.
Write that down.
Write that down. House Resolution 32, and don't just let your congressman know, because your congressman here is already a firm supporter and the introducer of the bill.
Exactly.
Let the senators know.
Who would they be?
You want that supported.
Who would we contact around here?
Well, let's see.
Rubio
and Nelson. That's our 2 senators for Florida.
And let me just share with you.
1 Republican, 1 Democrat.
Neither of them. Shame on them. Neither of them said, don't you pull page 587 out of that NDAA. Not either of them. Republican and a Democrat, neither of them got behind the bill and said, you leave page 587 alone. Neither of them. So you make some noise to those gentlemen.
Yep, absolutely. And don't forget, we've got free tickets to the Manatees here at WMEL. And we gave you, go online if nothing else and just put WMEL AM 1300 and it'll pull it up and there's a map. Or you can come to American Legion Post 200 on Ocean Boulevard and Satellite Beach.
We still got a couple minutes, and I want to throw something out there because we just welcomed home the 715th MP Company from their 3rd tour in Afghanistan, right here in Melbourne. And they're the Rhinos are there. Who are they? They are the Dark Knights. The Dark Knights. The Black Rhinos are in Cocoa. The Dark Knights came back. Do you know that 4 out of 10 of them can't find work?
Wow, and that was the way it was
before they left
2 or 3 years ago when we talked about that issue. And so who give us an example of a few of the best employers in 2014 to hire vets.
And we're going to make sure this gets published, so you guys can go to avetproject.org and check out the Facebook as well as American Warrior Radio. We'll scan this document on there.
Let me interrupt just real quick if I could. Just to give you an idea, VA is under marching orders to hire vets as much as they can. In Washington, D.C., 3% of the 6,000 people employed there, 3%, 180 people are
out
veterans.
of 6,000.
That's sickening.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. So you got to make some noise there. I'm going to make sure that the Best for Vets Employers for 2014 gets published on both American Warrior Radio's Facebook page as well as AVET Project's Facebook page. But if you look down the list, Glenn, there's some pretty impressive companies, and their numbers are nice too. USAA, that's a great insurer.
And they're the best.
Yeah, and JP Morgan Chase, they made a lot of noise a couple of years ago about wanting to hire some 100,000 vets a year.
Exactly.
And I'm not sure they've made that goal, but they're listed up there highly.
They're up in the top 10.
They are. Bank of America, Safeway Foods, Walmart's there.
Yep.
You know, so there's lots of companies, and we'll make sure this list gets up there because we want every vet, especially those that are serving today, to be able to have a job when they get out. Or if they're a reservist or guardsman and they get back from a deployment, come on, they got enough things to worry about. They need to have their
That's
jobs.
right, and this will be valuable in your job search efforts.
Okay, so before we leave, Glenn, we always tell them about this.
Okay, for veterans who are having a crisis and contemplating suicide, thinking about suicide, don't do it. Call,
What's your slogan?
well, my slogan is that suicide is a permanent solution to a temporary problem.
Let that sink in for just a second. A permanent solution to a temporary problem.
And you can get help, and that's what you need to do. You need to get help. Don't commit suicide. 1-800-273-8255. Press 1 if you're a veteran or a veteran's family member.
Sure.
1-800-273-8255. Press 1.
And as always, Glenn,
Don't forget, thank a vet.
happy Easter, everybody.